first one is, what made you want to become a scientist?
When I was school boy, my brother already worked at, actually he was studied at medical university in Milan, Russia. And they have electron microscope. And he invited me and I saw cells under multiplication 40,000. I saw this green fluorescent screen, mitochondria, nuclei, and I said, that's okay.
That's very nice.
So first time I saw electron microscope, I decided I want to do it.
Do you think it's important to students like us to go to another country in an exchange?
I can say two things, if you are very young, the best way to go to United States or Europe and in good lab, learn some new technology, publish in top journal, come back and you have all credentials. If you are in middle age, there is so-called sabbatical. After 7 years, every scientist must have 1 year to visit some countries. And if you are already mature scientists, collaboration is also important. There's actually some scientists which have 5 affiliations, so global scientists. I know at least 2 great scientists like George Whiteside in Harvard and my former boss Werner Rizal in Germany. They travel so much that they have only 1 day per month for so global scientists is, I think, it's a rarity. But you can be in your country and you'll be very successful, so it's a question of your interest. My feeling is that science is international. And you have this program, Science, Ciencias and Fronteras. You have all tools.
Yes. Actually now he's stopped.
Yeah?
Yeah. But we hope that he'll come back so we can go.
It's not only in Brazil, it's also in France, in Canada, in Finland, in Germany. There's a program which they try to attract number 1 national who work, for example, Germans who work in the United States or Finnish guys work. And the second, they want to attract somebody who is top leader in the field which is not developed in this country. So,
since you've worked in other countries with a lot more investments in science, what are the greatest differences you found here in Brazil?
if you ask me, what is your impression about Brazil? I said, we have fantastic infrastructure. So we have, for example, in metro, where I'm working on Campinas, from the position of equipment is fantastic. My brother visited electron microscopy centers in metro. It's National Metrology Center, Metrology, Qualidade, and he's working in Milan, in Italy, in cancer centers. We not even dream. Great scientists, good infrastructure. What is missing is, first, it's missing is sense of competition.
Oh.
In Brazil, people say it's okay.
Yeah,
So you have good life.
Yeah.
You don't, in America, if you don't compete, you don't get publication, you don't get grant, and you're out. So, and the second thing is, let's assume that you are a successful scientist. You trained in Harvard, Cambridge. You came to Brazil, you became a professor. You have lab. You publish in Science on Nature. And you have patent. But how Brazil benefit from this? So you must have culture. This competitive. I want to change world. Second, you must have young people who don't afraid to lose their face. Just a startup. Because 95% of startups fail. You couldn't. Normal people not accept such situation where the chance that you succeed is 5%. So I go to Las Vegas. Okay? And of course, you don't have enough venture capital. That's even you create a company, you don't have patent. But in order to grow, you must have money. So, but the point is, it doesn't matter. Capitalism doesn't matter. Is that you have scientists, they produce idea go to the company make product and quality of life. And I usually said, let's say we close the border in the United States. After 3 days, they will die. If we close the border in Brazil, nobody will. after 1 year, say what's happening.
Yeah.
We are self-sufficient country. Actually, in our company, 3D bioprinting, we hired some Brazilian guy. I know the guy, he's working very well, and so when he came to Russia, people say, oh, we will something more, longer. So the quality of education in Brazilian university is very good. If you ask, for example, I work in America, whom I work, Chinese, Indian, Russian or Brazilian? Brazilian. Because they know English better, they're not lazy and crazy like Russians, they not do what we want like Chinese, and they're not very crazy like Indians who try to do it in a different way. So Brazilians are highly motivated to work Chinese. It's like European or like Latin America.
The next question is, what was your first contact with bioprinting and what made you want to work with it?
When I came to the United States, I worked on development biology, basically heart development. Okay? But before even my boss in Germany, I was in Max Planck, said, Vladimir, do you want to go to the United States? I said, no, I don't have money. So I will send you. I said, for free? United States said, of course. It's not so easy. You must go to the conference and present some poster. I say, what conference? There is some new direction called tissue engineering. So I go to this conference and I heard all these talks, fantastic, that's what I want. And then when I arrived in Charleston, first I worked in development biology, then I tried to do tissue engineering, but I was a little bit unsatisfied with mainstream, because the mainstream was, let's take cells, let's take scaffolds, put them in bioreactor, and then you get something. I say, you will never create organs such a way, and I don't want plastic in my body. So, in 2003, we published the first paper about this organ printing. And it was very difficult because everyone said it's crazy, it's not publishable, So finally we published this in Trends in Biotechnology, now I think 700 citations, one of the top.
And how long do you believe it will take till we can print body organs in large scales?
It's already done. We print our organ 15th of March this year, mouse, and 8th of November I presented this result including function. So we transplant. So we take radioactive iod 131 and completely destroyed function of thyroid gland. Then we take embryonic, rounded embryonic explant of thyroid gland and also allantoides, which create blood vessels. Put them together with printer, transplant these mice, and we restore 50% function. So first mouse organ, thyroid gland, was printed in 2015 in Russia. But it's mouse, it's embryonic now.
Yeah, but in large scale, like, so we can do transplants.
You know, before you go to human, you must do it on animals. Moreover, mouse is not enough. You don't get permission to use this technology in human until you make on large animals like lamb, pig, monkey. So what we want to do now, we want to print human thyroid gland and transplant it to the human. But then there's a period of so-called regulatory approval. In the United States it's FDA, in Brazil it's Anvisa. So we must demonstrate that it's safe, sterile, no cancerogenic effect, no nothing. Okay? So it takes time and you never know how much that will take. But according to some estimations, people say never. Second, 50 years. My estimation is it's not a correct question. When? Why? If you don't invest, never. If you invest enough money, then it's a question of regulation. But I don't see any technological barrier. So basically our plan is, number one, we must publish paper, because we already present in Singapore, in Europe, and we will present this in Boston in March. So basically, it's in Brazil. So we open and we present our data, and I don't see any strong critiques. Okay? Second step is to publish paper. nobody can say priority. And the third step, human. Because mouse, but if you don't human, and we know how to do this. And then, of course, the real target is kidney. Why? Because every day 20 people die in the line for the organs. Okay?
And what are the biggest negative reviews about bioprinting that you receive?
It's interesting. I asked American patent lawyer, and I said, "Can we patent design or digital model for organ?" He said, "You want to create organ which look like natural?" I say, "Yes." So if your organ which you print will 100% like natural, it's not patentable because you couldn't patent a human organ, so it must be some difference. Say, it's fantastic, we don't have lymphatic system, we don't have nervous system, it's easier. He said, and the second, it's so-called non-obvious. So what it means non-obvious? It means that professionals in this field say that it's not possible to do. So I started to collect all this negative, and I told you, for example, Jorge said, I don't believe that you can print organs because it's very complex. Okay, what organ you say it's very complex? Oh, everything complex. I look on thyroid gland, artery, vein, and this follicle, simple like, So when people doesn't have any background, and it's just to guess, in case people die, okay? So when people die, and there's big markets, and there's big demand, and we know how to solve it, and somebody said it's not possible to do because it's very complex. Do you know how many details in airplane?
A lot.
And they fly it.
Yeah.
So, when you talk about future, nobody can predict future because it's fantasy, yes? But there's only one way to predict future if you're actually doing it. Okay? That's what we try to do. So we close our eyes, all this noise, it's not possible, it's crazy, whatever. When we show them that we print thyroid gland, they say, oh, human thyroid gland is just half a year, will be done. Now, there are 16 companies which produce commercial bioprinters, from 50,000, 100,000 to 1 million. There's company which selling bioprinter and making money. Okay? Then there are 6 or 10 companies which making steroids for drug discovery, for modeling disease, and making money. And then somebody came to me and said that organ printing is fantasy. I said, okay, go to internet, make your formula.
So the last one, what kind of advice would you give us, the beginner scientists?
There's very nice, again, on internet. Some guy collect 10 advice from the top people. So you can go to internet, YouTube, and Steve Jobs, and with this Microsoft, Bill Gates, people at such level, they give advice. So I watch 10, and all of them, practically all of them say, never ever afraid to do something which people told you is not possible. So there's no such things as an impossible. And so if you start to do something and say, oh, it's not possible for me to go to Boston or Harvard or MIT, oh, it's not possible for me to go to California, oh, I live in Brazil, we don't have something like this, then you already put somebody, okay? I'm from Soviet Union and we have iron cooking, okay? So if you go, then you will be in jail or shoot you. So now I'm in Brazil, Singapore, Europe, United States. So there's no barrier. All barriers are inside. Okay? Second is you always there's a lot of opportunities, yes, but you must select something which is yours. Okay? How you select this, nobody knows. My mother told me, if you make some decision and your heart is, you have smile, that's your decision. If you make decision, then it's not your decision. Okay? So it's all individual. What drives you, to be famous, to be rich, to be, I don't know, the different drive. For me, the driver is This is the intellectual challenge, okay? And there's many, many people who will try to solve this problem. And I know how to solve it, okay? You can have 1,000 beautiful women, you have millions of dollars, you will never get the same level of pleasure that you can solve problems. But my advice is very simple. Find the best people who can train you, try the best, most sexy directions, nanotechnology, jump cells, bioprinting, all this field. And have a very good advisor in Brazil and also go to the top level, learn to compete, be productive, be positive. And another thing which is also very important, you fail. You never fail, it's just unsuccessful pathway, go to another way, okay? And the more, usually I said, who is the expert? Expert is the person who makes all possible mistakes. So my advice, just look inside and see what you really want.